Dolphins All Access coming to you from the road. We are in Tampa, Florida. We've got another joint practice between the Dolphins and an opponent, this time the Bucs, and of course, Goldie. You'll hear him Friday night during the game on the call. So, Goldie, let me put you on the spot real quick with the Dolphins. Do you think we see any starters suit up in this game?
Well, first of all, my favorite starter, just got to start, is you, Mike, for the transportation over here to Tampa. It was a wonderful ride, a little stop for a slice of pizza, a couple of coffees. So it was a terrific time. Great to be here in Tampa on the water. I'm really not sure how the Dolphins end up handling this. You know, the last two preseason games, in some ways, at certain positions, they actually ran out of players.
Yeah.
They did pick up a couple of running backs this week, so you presume that they're going to go. They also picked up a wide receiver. Obviously, anybody that's even remotely nicked up, which when we get to Friday night, we're only, 16 days away from that opener against Jacksonville. None of those players will play. So we'll see. You know, I really think a lot of it's going to be up to Mike McDaniel with Frank Smith and the offensive staff and Anthony Weaver as well, particularly on the two lines. Do they feel like some of those players need a few more reps? We'll see. And it'll also depend on how much work they get done tomorrow against the Bucs in the practice.
And if there's something we know about Mike McDaniel, he doesn't like that first NFL week to be the first time these guys see some run. So maybe a Jordan Poyer or someone like that does see some action. Last year, this time in Jacksonville, we did see the starters get one series. So who knows? Maybe they give them something. But that offensive starting unit, they played so well in terms of getting the job done, putting the ball in the end zone. You wonder, do they even need that run? But there are certainly camp battles still to decide here. And if we're sticking with the offense, the backup quarterback position, you got Skylar Thompson and Mike White still battling it out. Any edge there, or what do you need to see from either of those guys to win this?
Well, I really don't think there is any edge. And Mike McDaniel made the point that I don't think anybody really realized when evaluating the quarterbacks throughout camp. Mike McDaniel said, I'm intentionally putting both of them in difficult positions. That means players around them. That means, situations in games. So he's intentionally, and even in practice, trying to make adverse conditions. And he brings up a great point that we don't really think of. Mike McDaniel said, because anytime the backup quarterback gets in the game, it is an adverse situation.
Right.
Because you're coming in relief, and you don't even know that you're going to be in the game, and you're filling in for a great quarterback like Tua Tagovailoa. So, they're watching every play, every single rep. It seems to me like it's close. Skylar Thompson has gotten more time with, neither one of them has played with the starters per se, for the most part, but he's gotten more time with the guys further up the depth chart, which kind of signals to me, in some ways, we know we got Mike White. Let's see if Skylar can grab the spot. But no doubt, Mike, that tomorrow, and these guys have bodies of work, 3 years in the league and 4 years in the league for Skylar and Mike White. Tomorrow and Friday night are probably big for these two players.
Yeah, no doubt. Also going to be big for some of the young guys on the defense. I want to move over to the defensive back group because there's a lot of good young corners that they picked up who are undrafted in this group, trying to make the 53-man roster. Probably some of them end up on the practice squad. But anyone you're interested in there's a lot of guys like Isaiah Johnson.
Where do you go to school?
Syracuse.
Yeah,
that's why I mentioned him. No, but seriously, tough decision ahead for this coaching staff.
Well, the good news today at practice is they seem healthier. Jalen Ramsey came back out there. Ethan Bonner, even though he was in the red non-contact jersey, but he's back on the field. So you figure those top four are set. You got Ramsey and Fuller, Kohu in the slot. Bonner, probably Nick Needham, but he's going to be a swing guy, safety and corner. So maybe there's one, maybe there's two spots on the active roster. I think as many of those guys as they can sign at this time next Tuesday when it's cut down day, they probably will, between Johnson, Storm Duck, and Jason Maitre, because they have all shown something. I'll tell you the guy that really, when you look at the analytics, and again, small sample size, preseason games against backups, but no one's done a thing against Storm Duck. I believe the opposing quarterbacks are 1 for 8 or 1 for 9 completing passes. And last week against Washington, every time they try to go a little bit downfield, he was step for step with his guys. So, again, it's been a long time of work. All these guys were signed after the draft, Mike, in April. Here we are with just a couple practices, to go in a game. And all these reps are probably big for all those players.
I think it really says something about the roster these guys have built out, where there's so much competition still, even at this point in the game. By the way, Storm Duck, obviously great name. Good player, too.
Great name.
All right, I had to put you on the spot again because you got to be in the booth interviewing Mr. Ross in the game last week. I've been able to ask Kim Bokamper, John Kangemi this question, but, Stephen Ross said he thinks roster-wise, this is a contending team for a Super Bowl. What do you think, Goldie? Is he right?
Well, first off, it was a thrill to have him there, and he was great, and he was so enthusiastic to be there. 100%. He's spending $250 million on the roster.
Yeah.
Straight A's or A-pluses across the board in the NFL Players Association poll about wanting to be a Dolphin and how you treat them. The number one player, as voted on by the other players.
Yeah.
Playoffs, back-to-back years. There's no doubt they're a Super Bowl contender. And I'm glad from the top that that's the way they're thinking. I'm not saying it's going to put a ton of pressure on guys because everybody wants to win. Every coach, every player is as competitive as he can be.
It's why you suit up for a season.
100%.
That's the end goal for everybody.
But there's no doubt. Look, the AFC is brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, whoever it is, you've got to beat one or probably two of Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes.
That guy.
I mean, whoever makes it, you got to win a couple of playoff games against those types of quarterback. But, health is going to be a big factor. The last 2 years, and it's not an excuse, it's just the fact. The last 2 years, they didn't have their guys down the stretch, especially last year. Now, they also made some plays, particularly in that Buffalo game, where even with the injuries, I still thought they could have and should have won that Buffalo game, and then you would have won the division and you would have gotten a home game. But, if you're Stephen Ross and you're the owner of the team, I think he's like every single fan saying, look at the talent on this roster.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of good years. Let's take that next step. Sure, we're a contender.
Yeah, I wanted to ask it. I wanted to give the fans something to look for because obviously, yes, we're looking forward to this final preseason game against Tampa, but pretty soon, next time we're at Hard Rock Stadium, they count. They matter.
Let's go.
So, all right, Goldie, well, on that note, let's get out of here. Thank you so much. Thanks for the compliment on the drive.
Terrific job.
We got here safely.
Yeah, very smooth.
That's all that matters.
And no texting and driving for all you kids out there. He did not do that. Don't do it either.
You hear that?
Yeah.
No texting and driving.
No,
all right.
put the phone away.
Thanks for joining us on Dolphins All Access. We'll see you tomorrow.